I'm really, really curious about Fiorella's opinion about this. Bernie Sanders missed the vote the other day. Missed the vote. And that vote was to overturn some FBI surveillance privileges where they could look into our browser history. This is what, one of the Patriot recertifications or whatever. Yeah. Bernie didn't show up. Bernie didn't show up for the vote. Real quick, Pasta, how many votes did we lose by? Just one.
Is the loneliest number.
It is. So, Fiorella, please break this down to me. Explain this to me. I don't understand. Please.
Well, 10 Democrats and Republicans voted against this amendment that would have curtailed the FBI from being able to look at our browser history. And Bernie Sanders was too busy doing a live stream and trying to form this Bernie Biden Unity Commission, Unity Reform Commission to show up. Now, people came on. I criticized him for it. I added him, actually. I said, Bernie, where the hell were you? Where is our progressive movement? Right? Because he's never been, let's be clear, he has never been the strongest on civil liberties. He's never been a guy that's really ever released something that's like talking about surveillance. That's not ever been his thing. But this is horrible. I mean, this is bad. And Jeremy Scahill went off on him. He literally was like, whenever Bernie or any of the others Democrats talk about how terrible Republicans and Trump are, show them this, show them that they are just as bad. This is our civil liberties here. This is our freedom of speech. This is our privacy. We have zero rights. Throughout the coronavirus, there's been legislation upon legislation pushing more of surveillance on Americans using the excuse of health, security. That's always the excuse. And I know, like, there is kind of like a give and take when you have a situation like this. But overall, I'm against us being infringed so drastically, because I know that if they actually cared about us, they would be giving us UBI. They don't care about our safety. They just want to make sure that they can take advantage of this moment. And Bernie Sanders is the guy, the leader of the progressive movement, right?
That's what he
says.
And
even though I think people are supposed to be their own leaders, and I think we've learned our lesson that we need to stop doing that, he is still looked on as a leader. And instead of leading, he literally didn't show up. And people were like, well, he's old. Maybe he needed to be careful and not get sick. And it's like, yeah, well, he showed up for votes that weren't even that important at all. He showed up for impeachment. And he showed up for
at the cost of his election.
Stupid legislation. Yeah. He canceled he literally dropped out supposedly because he didn't want to get people in danger of the coronavirus. I mean, this just doesn't make any sense. There's no excuse. He should have been there. We lost by one freaking vote. We could have used his vote. He's not the only one that didn't show up. There were other senators that would have voted for the amendment, and they didn't show up. Why is this not being paid attention to? Why do these things like our privacy and our freedom of speech and our civil liberties, why they're completely dismissed? If somebody else had done this, let's say Tulsi Gabbard had done this, she would have gotten reamed for it. Any other progressive,
being the one,
but Bernie
vote?
Sanders.
Oh my God.
Bernie Sanders, though, is getting, I'm seeing it in real time. The majority of his supporters are really, really going after him, and they're upset, especially because he was wasting time with this whole Biden bullshit of some sort of unity.
You're not excited about the task force?
It's really, really sad to see. I just feel like the progressive movement that was the Bernie Sanders movement is dead, because they're just carrying water for the establishment. They're carrying gallons and gallons of water. And the progressive movement, as we see it now, all it has done is has capitulated people like AOC, catapulted people like AOC, put them on the front, put all these fake progressives in there, co-opting the real progressives, pushing them out, and has literally, it's basically the Democratic Party establishment feigning as progressives when they're not. And that's where we're at right now. And I think people should yell at Bernie Sanders, should call him, demand an explanation. He hasn't said a goddamn word about this. He hasn't tweeted anything, nothing.
Yeah.
So
volumes to the bigger picture, Niko, that a lot of people didn't understand. Like, hey, Niko and Pastor, why are they over there with Tulsi Gabbard? I mean, they were Bernie supporters and stuff like that. And a lot of people, when they said, oh, Tulsi was just selfish for running, they didn't understand it was policy and issues. And this particular policy in particular is one of the biggest things that we need to talk about. There's a big part of the left, the neo-progressives or the Bernie people that we know about, they don't know shit about civil liberties. They're not even looking at it. They're not even paying attention to it. And we're stomping our feet over here and screaming like this stuff is important. You got your boy Slow News Day on the thread. I know he can speak volumes to this and stuff like that. Our civil liberties matter. You talk about having the keys to the kingdom, Niko. Well, if they have the keys to the kingdom and they control whatever they want, if they can speak their narrative, suppress our narrative, then they have actually just won on every single issue they want out there. So, I mean, the fact that he didn't show up, but the fact that you don't hear a big outcry from a lot of the neo-progressives or those people who did follow Bernie religiously, they're not even aware of what he missed. We need to change that moving forward and stuff, because there's a big part of progressives like ourselves who have these libertarian views because, hey, listen, I believe in Medicare for all. I want to do something, some sort of a Green New Deal or an off act, whatnot. Those issues are important to me, but these other issues come first, because if we don't get these issues under control, we'll never have anything. And the fact that you just gave more power to the surveillance state, it just speaks volume that there's a lot of people asleep on the left that need to wake up to these issues moving forward. That and election integrity. Wake up. Foreign policy. Wake the fuck up.
I think that it's worse for Bernie. Like, voting for it, he probably would have justified it in some way, and I would have been mad. I would have been against it, but at least you showed up. This is like the Patriot Act in general, everything to do with the Patriot Act is a generational issue, something that we're going to be fighting, and then our kids are going to be fighting, okay? Your kids are going to have to deal with the ramifications of this legislation. They already have. And you just don't show up. That's worse than voting for it. You don't care. You don't care. And that's what bothers me about Bernie. For the people who feel that this man, oh no, you just gotta trust him, No, the things that Bernie cares about, he does care about very passionately. However, the things that he doesn't care about, like, it's very clear. Loyalty is secondary to Bernie. And that's just a fact. I don't know what you know. Where's the endorsement of Shahid Buttar? Why did he rescind his endorsement of Tim Canova and cut him off and ignore him? He throws his people under the bus, like, because, yeah, loyalty may be important to him, but what's more important to him is his personal image and not looking like Ralph Nader, right? When you're looking at climate change, even, yeah, you say that you care about climate change, Bernie, but shit, where's your bill at? And why didn't you endorse the bill that was already there? You say you're so concerned, like, oh, I'm tired of these proxy wars, and we need to start investing in education and stop investing in mass incarceration. Okay, well, commit to getting rid of all private prisons like Tulsi Gabbard did. No, I can't do that. Commit to repealing the crime bill. No, can't do that. Like, it's almost like when it comes to a lot of these issues, he just doesn't care because it doesn't affect him. And I hate to say this, but I think it's kind of worth reminding people. Bernie is a progressive. Bernie is an activist, but Bernie's also a white guy where he's had his struggles, but at the same time, he's been able to enjoy a lot of privilege that the majority of us have not. And that's just a fact. I'm not saying that makes him evil, but that also makes him insensitive at times. It makes him apathetic. Bernie has been stacking paper the last 2 years. He's a millionaire now. He earned it. I'm not going to say he didn't earn it. However, the rest of us have been going broke trying to support the movement that he started. Now, for you to just throw that under the bus, support Biden, not fight for election. How do you not fight election integrity or fight for election integrity if you're Bernie? I would, bro, if I have hundreds of millions of dollars, man, hundreds of millions of dollars donated to Bernie. How do you not care enough? How do you not show up for that fight? It's just like civil liberties. After everything that we've been dealing with online through the ABC and Google and YouTube and all the suppression that we've been dealing with, the over surveillance that we've been dealing with, the censorship that we've been dealing with, how do you not show up for that fight? One of the most important fights of our time. There's no excuse for it. And I'm not saying that I've seen anybody make an excuse for it, but everybody immediately, I've seen a few people do this weird leap in logic the moment that someone critiques him or critiques AOC even. It's, oh man, everybody's so quick to cancel AOC, man. Even after they've done, or Bernie and AOC, even though they've done, like, nobody canceled them. Nobody. But the fact that you see a critique of Bernie or a critique of AOC as canceling them just shows how sycophantic and dogmatic this movement has become.
And at this rate, anybody who has done what AOC, anybody else that has done what AOC has done would have been canceled. I would have actually been canceled. I mean, yes. She is
Bernie's
she's already
Tulsi's inconsequential impeachment vote had AOC jumping up the fucking wall.
And it was the right vote.
And it was the right vote.
It was the right vote.
They listened to Fee. Fee says, state, what was the vote? No vote?
She abstained.
Abstained. Yeah, like don't pick a side. You know what I'm saying? Actually, what she tried to put in place, you know, what was it? On Trump, the securities, the checks or something. I keep forgetting. She tried to put a resolution into place right after, and they just ignored it.
Which? Oh, you mean the censorship bill?
The censorship. Thank you so much.
Everything
the censorship that she, yeah. And then eventually, Adam Schiff started circling the wagons 2 months later and started kind of getting behind, without mentioning that it was Tulsi that put it forth.
I forgot.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, yeah.
Kamala Harris is.
They said the Democrats are now looking into a censorship bill instead of the impeachment, and we're like, are you kidding me?
Who said that?
Are you kidding? Whose bill is it? No, don't worry about who introduced it. That's not what we're talking about right now. Just like the marijuana prohibition, right? She was the one who introduced that bill. They try to give credit to the one who co-sponsored it with her.
The UBI as well, with Kamala Harris. And
It's like, don't get me wrong. The reason I like using Tulsi as, I mean, even though she's my favorite politician right now, like the reason I like using Tulsi as the example for a lot of these issues is because, like I said earlier in the stream, if everybody who swears they're about policy, there's no way that Tulsi isn't your favorite politician. Unless you're just not a populist.
Jesse Ventura is mine.
Well, okay, that makes sense though. But I'm talking about currently active
establishment. That's it.
Currently active, you know what I'm saying? Like Jesse got to come out of retirement to run again. But
I hear you. But he was very anti-establishment. More than like he wasn't willing to play with the Democratic Party. A lot of people still say, why does Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders play that game? Well, is there a mechanism for a third party to really get some ballot access and make a big dent at the top position in the land? No, there is not. So, it's
a catch-22, no.
Because it is a catch-22.
There could be if somebody powerful helped.
But to try to get some of these, it's almost impossible with third party to get some of these people to get ballot access in some of these states. It's ridiculous if you look into it.
Yeah. Currently, it is almost impossible, but I
agree.
But Tulsi said something that I agree with, and I've always actually agreed with. And I used to say this whenever people would get mad because Bernie doesn't run third party. I would say, look, what have we done? Have we set up any apparatus for him? Have we even addressed the original reason he lost? Because that reason is still going to be there when he runs third party.
That's the whole point.
You know what I'm saying? So now with that being said, she said, well, if the people put together an apparatus, she's like, I can't do it all myself. And I agree with her 100%. Like, what the hell? But with that being said, look what the Moving Forward People Party has done. Took the largest sub-organization under our revolution in LA and made them Moving Forward People's Party. Nina Turner shouting them out. Everybody is shouting out. And now they're growing, and they're growing the right way by building coalitions. But that's now so now we see momentum somewhere. Let's take that and run with it. But on the other side of that fence, I still agree that Tulsi capitulates to the Democratic Party a little too often. Or, matter of fact, I will say this. She doesn't call them out as much as I would like her to. Now, of course, we could just have really, 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 really high standards because there is no one else in the Democratic Party that calls them out more, right? But we got to take it a step further than that. And I think that everybody would agree with that. So, but like I said, the reason I like using Tulsi is just because you can't, unless, you're, Pasta, Mr. Oddball out, want to say Jesse Ventura, to be out of the active politicians, you can't say that you care about policy more than anything else. And then you say, who are your favorite politicians? Man, I love Ro Khanna. Oh, I love AOC. I love Pramila Jayapal. I love Ayanna Pressley. What about Tulsi? I think she's all right. I mean, I appreciate what she did in 2016. Huh? I mean, yeah, I appreciate what she did in 2016 too. That was the first of many amazing choices she had made leading up into 2020. And y'all don't talk about any of the policies because you're not looking into policy. You're not looking up legislation. You're not checking for consistency. And if the progressive movement can solve this Rubik's Cube which also, by the way, just demonstrates how far gone the progressive movement has become, that the Trump supporters could see how progressive she was and appreciated her for it, even when they disagree with her. But then the fucking progressives were like, but she's a secret Republican. And they're like, we disagree with her on almost everything, but we just like her because she's honest. So once we figure that out, though, once we figure out why you could celebrate AOC as a progressive champion with nothing accomplished, but dismiss the person who sacrificed her career to back this movement, then we'll be able to move forward. So hopefully.
What about Kshama Sawant?
Who?
Kshama Sawant could be a good answer for you. Say your favorite politician.
Yeah, she's mine right now.
She's up there.
City council.
Yeah, but once again,
she's city council. She's not Congress.
That is true. But she's, what she's demonstrated, what she's done, I think is amazing too as well. So. I know if I was going to say Fiorella's, I bet is her favorite politician is Kshama Sawant. She's a little bit more socialist minding. I think that's why probably than Chelsea is whatnot. So, but
well, she took on Amazon, and I think that's what we need to focus on.
Yes,
she does a lot of outside of. She understands working within the electorate and working outside, like literally building a movement, not like AOC, who was a pretend activist, but like a real one. Like a real person that does things, a real organizer.
Well, if AOC was a real activist, she would have showed up at Standing Rock. If she was so, you know what I'm saying?
She did, apparently.
She did? I haven't seen any pictures or anything like that.
Yeah, she went.
She did?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I know people were kind of
questioning
that.
She popped up for like a day.
I'd like to see a picture.
No, she went.
No, maybe it was superimposed on a green screen.
Wow.
Look, would you put it past her? Remember when she posed in front of that? She got caught posing in front of that gate at the border?
Yeah.
Wearing all white? Bro, what? Oh, don't get me started. If you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rockfin Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else, always remember,
find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.